Hello and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah and I'm excited to share 3 ways that you can think like a minimalist in today's video. And these are 3 concepts that I've never actually addressed on this channel. So you are in for a treat. I think you'll find them very interesting, especially number 3. It is related to an item that most people have, and there's an interesting story behind it. Starting with number 1, to live a minimalist lifestyle, we want to overcome a psychological term known as functional fixedness. Now, I admit this is a term that I hadn't thought much about since my AP psychology days back in high school, but the concept of functional fixedness is where we only believe that each item can only be used for that set purpose. We aren't able to see the creativity or the multifaceted options of a particular object. And so it does kind of fit into problem solving and creativity here. And if we are not able to apply functional fixedness into our lives, we might think, well, this object can only be used for this purpose, and therefore I need separate objects to fulfill every one of these purposes in my life. But with a minimalist perspective, we can actually switch that thinking and start to see ways that different objects can be used in a multitude of different approaches. It also allows us to have more creativity when we think about our spaces in general and how we can repurpose individual items in new ways that not only help add value, but also reduce our dependence on having all of these single-use type of items. This also can fit into the concept of when someone needs to buy something again because they decluttered an original. Sure, you can always go buy something again, or you can figure out a new way to, work through your life without it. So kind of a silly example, in our old apartment, it was a really tiny kitchen that had no counter space. So we purchased this little island that we used to help extend counter space. And we got a lot of value out of it while we were at that apartment for a year and a half. And when we moved here into this home, we realized it wasn't really needed. And so we ended up selling it. Well, I did not realize that I would end up teaching cooking classes online through the platform OutSchool, like I talked about in my life update video, which I'll leave linked below if you're curious about learning more. And that island would have come in kind of handy. But did that mean I went out to buy another one? No. I used my creativity and problem-solving abilities to figure out another option for myself. Now, it's a little silly, but it works. I have taken a step ladder and I have that with a box on top, just reusing a cardboard box. Have it there on top, and I set my computer on top of that. Very stable, good height for showing me cooking different things for the kids, and it works. And that was a $0 cost to set that up. I didn't have to buy anything. It's just another way I'm using our stepladder and reusing an old cardboard box. When we allow ourselves the chance to be creative and problem solve as is best, we can overcome this functional fixedness and understand what we actually need and don't need. The second way we can think like a minimalist is to redefine luxury. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment what you identify as luxurious. When you think about those common examples of luxury, what comes to mind? I know if I was thinking of society's perception of luxury, I might think about, a really nice mansion or a really nice house, fancy cars, people taking an all-inclusive beach vacation. Those are a few different behaviors that I would associate with luxury, at least in the societal standpoint. However, it's important for us to redefine what luxury means to us and think about what those examples are in our personal lives. If we're just chasing society's metric of luxury, guess what? That's going to be heavily defined by the different brands that have a stake in that. Whether it's designer clothing brands, different car companies, whatever it is, that concept of keeping up with the Joneses or whatever the case is, we have to set up our own guidelines for what we're trying to achieve and what is luxurious to us. And those don't have to be anything related to finances or buying things either. So I know when I think about my own life, how I have defined luxury, to me, luxury is the equivalent of simple pleasures. Instead, I think about those little things on a daily basis that bring joy to my life. I also think about seasonal aspects too. We're starting to get a little bit of some fall weather here, and so being able to have the windows open and smell all of that fresh air is such a luxury. Going for a walk is a luxury. Having a warm cup of tea is a luxury. These things can be financial. A future goal of luxury that I'm trying to achieve is I want to, by the age of 30, have our house paid off so we're mortgage free, financially free. We still have a ways to go for that, but the idea is you define what luxury means to you, and then you're less likely to be swayed by the societal messages that try to tell you, hey, luxury happens to include our product, which may or may not be out of your price range and may actually not make you happy, like we're pretending it does in this ad. So it's important for us to think through those. The third strategy to help you think more like a minimalist is to avoid consumer games. And I want to give a very specific example of what started as a company or an industry that has completely changed the way people perceived certain items and what people thought was normal or expected. And many of us may have this item because of it. So I'm curious if you have this item in your space or maybe are even wearing it. The item I'm talking about is diamonds. Back in the 1930s, diamond sales had taken a big hit. There was just not much demand for them after there were a lot of major mines discovered in South Africa and some companies who had a lot of supply of diamonds, but there just wasn't demand. The message they tried to share in their marketing was that if a man truly loved a woman and wanted to show that, he would get a diamond. There's also the concept or their slogan, a diamond is forever, even though a diamond, while very durable, can still chip, break, discolor. It still can be damaged. But anyway, the message of a diamond is forever as well. They used this as their ad campaign, and it was highly successful. And even today, if we look at what jewelry companies are doing, they are pushing diamonds as well and using similar messages. The ad campaign had a huge success, and I'll put actually the statistic below, but basically tremendous growth immediately following the start of this campaign, and that growth has continued into today. There's nothing inherently necessary or special about the diamonds. It's just that it is the norm and it's become a part of culture. Even when people just get engaged and then people ask to see your hand, to see the ring, that all has been manufactured. American engagement rings on average cost between $4,000 and $5,000. So this is a huge investment people are making because of a corporate game. Now, I know in our particular situation, Jake and I, when we got married back in 2014, and when Jake proposed to me back in 2013, we had just bought some really basic, cheap rings online. I had one with like a little fake, I guess, diamond type piece. That was like $10. And then our actual wedding bands that we bought, because I realized I didn't want like anything jutting out on the ring. I just found that annoying. We just bought stainless steel bands that were $2, I think on Amazon or eBay. And then I did lose a lot of weight since then, so my sister actually had like a random ring that I liked. So that's the one I've been wearing now. But to me, I've never been caught up in that consumer game. And of course, if you love your ring, no worries. We all want different things in life. But I just wanted to share that interesting story to help us think about when we're tempted to buy a product, or even when society tells us this is what's normal. It's so important that we take a deeper dive at understanding the why and what the purpose is, what the history is behind this. And unfortunately, more often than not, you'll find that there was some sort of story told which was designed to increase profits, because that's what a company's trying to do. But if we have the understanding to take these things at face value and say, I was thinking about spending $4,000 on a diamond ring for this person I want to propose to, but maybe I should look at other options. Of course, this doesn't even get into all the ethical issues of diamonds over the years. This is just the marketing standpoint. But since so many people have diamonds, whether it's in a ring or other pieces of jewelry, I thought that this was an interesting topic to bring up and an interesting lens that we could use to analyze this. That being said, that wraps up these 3 ways to think like a minimalist, but this video is part of a series where I'm talking about Minimalist Living 101, And you might also like one of these past videos I covered, either about batching or delayed gratification. So I'll leave these here if you want to check them out. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, why not join our community of people trying to live their best lives with less? You can do that right up here. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.